Here we go. Back to the video. Exciting stuff. Enjoy my kitchen, everyone, as you listen to M3-4D today.
Well, and this is, I think it's a nice way to say hello and goodbye to your kitchen.
That's right. The last time I'll ever get a chance to record an M3-4D in this kitchen, so might as well live it up.
It's the beginning and the end of an era, everybody.
Do it up big. Yeah, that's right.
And nothing's bigger than Jay's kitchen.
That is false. All right. Here we go. How do I kick this off usually? Oh, yeah.
What's up, bitches?
No. I thought you said you weren't going to go raw, unedited, unfiltered Landon Doan on this one.
Well, you know, I'm a renegade podcaster.
Okay.
I podcast by my own rules.
Welcome back to the Monorail. This is the Disney Deep Dive with the Dawes, and joining me once again from his palatial Landon the Doan Dawes studios is Landon the Dawes Doan. Landon, welcome to the Monorail.
Always fun to be coming from my segment on this. You know what? Your intro is bad. My intro is bad. Off to a hot start here on this edition of M3-4D. So glad that we had a vote talking about me getting my own spinoff now. Fantastic. I'm just going to go ahead and crap the bed. Fantastic.
I know. As soon as we try to push you out to the forefront, this is what we get. But
Yep. I melt under the spotlight.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because that is the perfect time for me to go ahead and reference the poll that I put out this week on the Monday Morning Monorail Twitter. That's at Morning Monorail. If you're not following us, please do so. I asked you all if you thought it might be a good idea to spin off M3-4D into its own standalone show. And the reason I asked that question is because Landon and I, as you're going to see, because we're going to put this video on YouTube. So also subscribe to us on YouTube so you can get the video footage.
And if you subscribe on YouTube, full frontal nudity.
No.
No.
I need a bleep. I need a real-time bleep. But no, I asked you, the Nug Nation, if we should spin it off because there's a lot of stuff that gets cut from M3-4D just in the name of time. Usually I try to keep this segment from 15, 20, 25 minutes, somewhere in that range, so that there's time for 3 whole segments and still to stay within an hour for the podcast. And we go over sometimes, and sometimes we have less. But I do feel like a lot of stuff I end up cutting out from this segment is pretty funny. We got a lot of good stuff. So I feel like people might want to hear that. So I wanted to hear what you all thought. Well, the votes are in. And as usual, it's split right down the middle.
Fantastic.
So
we've accomplished nothing, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, so this being the case, I did get a suggestion from Tom and Michelle from Hyperion Adventures podcast, and they asked the question, a very, profound question: why not both? And I don't know why I didn't think of that myself, considering that's been my catchphrase lately. Why not everything? Why not all of it? Why not the whole pizza? And so I agree with that, and that's what we're going to do. So M3-4D is going to stay part of the Monday Morning Monorail episode show that comes out on Mondays, but we are going to get back to releasing the full unedited version in video format on YouTube. So another way for you to engage with us, another way for you to get some more tint, as we like to say in the business.
Do we like to say that?
Yeah, apostrophe tint.
I'm not sure.
Take out the con. Con just sounds bad.
You're making this way more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. But I appreciate you all voting and sounding off. There's a passion for this segment, and it's obvious people enjoy it. And, we get comments from people like Old Man Frank, who basically says, I don't like change, so you know what my answer is. So, and I think that's true for a lot of people. So fair enough. We're going to keep this as it is, but just basically expand the offering, which is really best case scenario.
You get more of me, so you're welcome, or I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll apologize later. We'll see how this segment goes today.
Like I said at the top, so far off to a hot start.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get to it. We have an attraction to dive into today, and it's one that we kind of leapfrogged a little bit as we were going through all the attractions that have opened in Tomorrowland around 1975. This one opened up a little before some of the others, like, for example, Space Mountain, and actually it opened before Carousel of Progress. and TTA if I have my numbers right. So we're going to go to the centerpiece of Tomorrowland as it is, the thing that draws your eye with the kinetic movement in the sky above the neon lights against the dark night. It's beautiful. It's nice to look at. Maybe it's better to look at than ride. You tell me. It is. It is the Astro Orbiter.
Yay.
Well,
and the crowd goes mild.
Yeah, I know. That would have been a good time for my applause sound effect that I have now. But we'll save that for later. But the Astro Orbiter. So for those of you who may not know what the Astro Orbiter is, or just like my terrible descriptions of these things, it's a spinner ride. But it's not just a spinner ride. It's a spinner ride that's up in the air because it's actually on the 3rd floor of Rocket Tower Plaza. So if you have a fear of heights, but you still want to do a spinner ride, this is not the one for you. May I recommend the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, or maybe Dumbo, or Triceratops Spin? This would not be the one you pick because it is way up there. But for that reason, and that reason alone, it's the one that I would say is my favorite, maybe, out of all the spinners. I would definitely put it up there. There would be a debate. Honestly, now that I have experienced Dumbo in the new location with the big top that they've built with the playground and all that, I'll say Dumbo moved up the list for me, and it would be pretty close between the two. But I do really enjoy Tomorrowland. It's my favorite land in all of the Magic Kingdom. So I think that gives the Astro Orbiter an edge. Landon, have you done the Astro Orbiter?
I have done the Astro Orbiter, and it's interesting that you compared Astro Orbiter and Dumbo to each other as one and 1A in essence, because like that's immediately where my mind went. Because if there is one thing that Walt Disney World property has an abundance of, it's spinner rides. Mm-hmm. And like, to me, it's like they need something to set themselves apart from each other. And it's like, okay, with Aladdin, you have a camel that spits on you, maybe, if it's working. Yeah. And then the Dumbo ride, I haven't been able to experience the new Dumbo and its new location, but with the queue and everything you've told me about it and the pictures and videos, I think that gives Dumbo something that sets it apart from everything else or every other spinner ride except the Astro Orbiter. And even though it's like just kind of a basic ride, I like the view. The view is that something special that this ride has.
And that's something you pointed out when we had talked about Dumbo before, that in Dumbo's previous location, maybe the view was a little bit better from the ride, mm-hmm. as opposed to where it is now, where you're not really seeing so much. You can kind of see over to Tomorrowland a little bit. You can kind of see the castle a little bit, but it doesn't have
kind of see. That's the thing, kind of.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same view that it used to have. Astro Orbiter's view has always been great. You got a beautiful view of the castle and Fantasyland, and you know, you can see the Contemporary, you can see everything from there, and that hasn't changed. It's still there, and it's still amazing. You can see down Main Street basically from the Astro Orbiter, and so again, that puts it up there for me. But if you are sensitive to motion sickness, this one is the fastest of the spinners, and it may affect your sensitivity just a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. It actually goes at a whopping 11 rotations per minute. Which
I'm gonna act like that's fast. Whoa!
Picture that in your mind. Yeah, it really goes. So you're not going to get like the centrifugal force that you might get if you ride Mission Space Orange, but
I hope not, man.
Speaking of that, would that be a spinner? It kind of is.
I guess technically, yeah, it kind of would be a spinner.
Yeah. It's a centrifuge anyway. So, but. Yeah, 11 rotations per minute. One of the facts that I found about this ride is it actually, if you were to track the mileage on one of the rockets making its little circle over and over again all year long, it's going to travel an average of 1.2 million miles a year.
Whoa.
Is that not insane?
That's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
1.2 million a year.
Yeah, and if you want to know, like, how that compares to the Earth to the moon is 238,900 miles from Earth. So you could make that trip back and forth twice.
Yeah, there and back, and then there and back again. Wow.
Yeah. So that kind of puts it in perspective for you. You could literally travel the distance to the moon and back twice on the Astro Orbiter if you never got off it all year long. But I will tell you, cast members are probably going to ask you to get off at some point.
Yeah, they do have hours of operation and stuff like that. and at one part, even if you are in the extra hours, it's called trespassing. And as we've established on this podcast, particularly M34D, you don't want to go to Disney jail.
You do not. You've got
Actually, at that point, I think you would go to real adult jail. So maybe you would want to go to Disney jail instead.
Yeah. It might be a better alternative. But the rockets that you're sitting in, by the way, they haven't always looked the way they do today. When Astro Orbiter initially opened at the Magic Kingdom back in 74, it was known as Starjets. And the individual ride vehicles actually looked a little more like space shuttles. So they had kind of a wider back, and they looked a little different. They actually departed from what they looked like at Disneyland, because they actually look like rockets in Disneyland. And then they opened in Disney World, and they look like spaceships. So I guess they just were trying to like plus it just a little bit.
And I guess maybe make it look unique as opposed to Disneyland's.
Yeah, a little more, because back when this opened in Disneyland, it was 1956. So, and they were called Astrojets, and it's exactly the same ride. They had a centralized kind of monument that at the time was a large red checkered rocket. The rockets could go up to 36 feet in the air, and the attraction was between Submarine Voyage and Rocket to the Moon. So this was, at the time at Disneyland, it was still like sitting in a rocket was still something that felt really modern and cool, because we were traveling to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, when it opens in 74, we've been there, done that, and now the next big thing is the shuttle program. So that's why these rockets ended up looking more like shuttles to begin with.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just trying to keep it on the edge, because it is Tomorrowland, by the way. As we said, not today. So in these ride vehicles, the individual that rides in the front, because you ride in line, so one person in front, one person in back. The person in the front has a joystick that they can control the height of the rocket, and I mean, you got to go all the way at the top, right? You have to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can do the up and the down, but stay on the up, because like we said, the view is what makes this ride worth riding. Mm-hmm. Like if this was just on the ground, be like, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
What else you got? But because it is elevated, and because you get that view, this is what makes the ride worth it. And you go all the way to the top. Absolutely.
All the way to the top. And yeah, you can go up and down a little bit if you want to. You could even make it bounce a little bit if you want to, like make it go up and down. But I would say spend most of the time up top. And if you ride it at night, even better, because you're getting such a nice view of all the lit up sights, the castle, everything. It looks gorgeous at night. You could time it with fireworks, maybe even.
I was thinking that. Yeah, that might be the best attraction to. Well, I don't know if I want to say it's the best, because we've had a lot of people talk about Big Thunder Mountain in particular, but that might be one of the better attractions to experience the fireworks on.
I think it could be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the ride was redesigned in 1994, so it changed from the Starjets over to the Astro Orbiter as part of the Tomorrowland renovation that we've previously talked about. And at that time, the tower in the middle was created to what you see today. It's like a stylized version of a big iron tower, and there's planets that kind of float around outside the rockets. And they changed the ride vehicles to the rockets. So that is when we got the current version of the ride. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I know that I rode Astro Orbiter, and I would tell you that I rode Starjets. I don't know that for sure. I don't remember them looking like space shuttles. All I can really remember is the rockets. And maybe it's just because they've had such an impact on me since 94. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. See, like I can't even say that I rode Starjets. Like before doing research for this, I didn't know it was called anything other than the Astro Orbiter.
Mm-hmm. See, it's like that whole Mandela effect. Maybe for some people they remember that and others don't.
So are you a Berenstein or a Berenstein man?
That's or Berenstain, yeah.
Yeah, ooh.
That's exactly where I was going with it.
Berenstein, by the way. Berenstein till I die. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the camp I'm in as well. Hashtag Berenstein. So yeah, for as far as pre and post show go, there isn't really much to talk about on this ride. You really just ride an elevator up to the 3rd floor, and then when you're done, you ride the elevator back down. It's one of the things that's kind of interesting about this ride in that you queue to get on an elevator, and once you're up to the top of the elevator, you get to basically get on the ride. And I think when you look at it, sometimes if you look at the line, because it's down below the tower and you see people waiting just to get on the elevator, it seems like that could take a while. But usually there's not that many people waiting for it, so it's not going to take.
No.
And the ride only goes 90 seconds. So, which for some people, speaking of motion sickness, that's enough.
Yeah. And especially as you said, if you're prone to heights, 90 seconds might be 90 seconds too long in that instance.
Yeah, exactly. So Landon, we've pretty much covered the ride. There's not a lot to say about the Astro Orbiters other than it's a big centerpiece of Tomorrowland. It's got it. I like filming it at night. I love to get a video of the Astro Orbiter spinning around at night, all lit up with the black sky against it. It's just a very cool look. It definitely draws your eye. I mean, it's effective in that it's supposed to be, as they say, it's the weenie of that area. It's kinetic, it's tall, it draws you to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know from you, would you say this is the best spinner? And let's throw Prince Charming's Royal Regal Carousel into this conversation as well.
Okay.
I'm not going to put the teacups or alien swirling saucers because I think those are something else. So, but let's just talk about a ride where you sit in a thing and you go in a circle. Give me your number one spinner in Walt Disney World.
I mean, in my opinion, it has to be this, just because of the view. Because I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's just like you said, you sit in a thing and it takes you in circles. That's all it does. Yeah. That's not, and in my opinion, that's not very exciting. But what sets it apart is that view. It is so picturesque, and you talk about how it draws you in to Tomorrowland, and it's like, I think it has to be this.
Yeah. I would agree with you. And for me, I would put Dumbo. Dumbo is a very close second, especially I really do like what they've done with it. With the dual spinners, the wait's not as long. It's a lineless queue, which is fantastic. There's so many good things about the new Dumbo. I love the music. I love that it has water that goes around it, that the elephants kind of fly over. I think that's so cool. But you're missing out on the bird's eye view that you get from the Astro Orbiter. So, yeah, it's number one. And way down at the bottom, Magic Carpets of Aladdin. That's just my opinion. I would much rather ride the carousel than Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Now that I've done it, I will probably, unless I'm there with a small child who's begging to do it, and I don't have any more of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're there with a small child, we're going to have a talk, buddy.
Well, you know, when you're getting off a ride, sometimes it says, take small children by the hand. It doesn't specify your small child. So you could end up with some other small child, and if they're begging to go on Magic Carpets of Aladdin, you're going to take them. Because you want to draw the least amount of attention as possible.
That is true. You put way more thought into this than I would have admitted to, but I guess you're right.
Hit the eject button on that.
Yeah,
one.
right. Yeah, bail. We're bailing. Yeah. By the way, if I'm in that area, if I'm standing next, or if I'm in the area of where Aladdin is, you know what I'm doing? Pretty much everything else around it except riding Aladdin. I'll go stand in line for Jungle Cruise. I'll go get a Dole Whip. Come on.
I was going to say, get in line for Dole Whip. At least you
or mobile order.
You get something good out of it. Yeah, mobile order, get that Dole Whip without waiting in line. And
no, last time I was there, mobile order for Dole Whip, I think I waited like 15 minutes.
Oh, because we're giving out the secret.
Yeah, because everybody realizes, I'm just going to mobile order this.
But really, it's the way to do it.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you won't get spit on by a camel if you just go get Dole Whip. You can get your Dole Whip. You can take food and go watch the Tiki Show now. Go to the Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Take your Dole Whip. That's the way to do it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But we're not here to talk about that.
I was going to say, what are we talking about again?
We were talking about Astro Orbiters. But hey.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
This is a good segue for me because we're talking about spaceships flying through the sky. And, you know, there's about to be a very large addition to Disney's Hollywood Studios, or #AlwaysMGM.
Absolutely. The Babylon 5 land is finally open.
Well,
guys.
That and then Dune, and then coming after that, coming down the road is a little something called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And, you know, we've all had this date circled on the calendar for a while, August 29th. We've been looking at that date, And I know you and I have talked about it. I've talked about it with the family. It's tough because it's a Thursday, school's back in session. I've been thinking a lot about, is this something that we can actually make happen? Is this something we should try to do? Well, let me just say, as one of the hosts of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast, I do feel an obligation to be there on day one for you all. It's not for me. It's for you.
You're such a giver.
For the children. That's a shout out to Matt on HQ. I don't know if you all played. But anyway, so Landon and I had a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago, and it was kind of one of those like, you know what? We're doing it. Mark it down.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to make this happen. So I
we
immediately went online, got us a room at Art of Animation. Didn't need it, but the reason I did it is because I'm anticipating that Disney's going to do something to try to mitigate the crowds. They're not going to want people waiting in 3, 4, 5 hour lines to get in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge like they were for Pandora or Toy Story Land even.
Mm-hmm.
I know they can't do the same thing that they did in Disneyland where everybody who had a reservation had a chance to get a reservation or had a room at a Disneyland resort had a chance to get a reservation in Galaxy's Edge. They can't do it because you're talking 3,000 rooms versus 30,000 rooms. So there's a little bit of a disparity there in room count. But I feel like there's a chance they could do something that might give people who have a room on property some sort of an advantage, aside from extra magic hours, which are going to be happening as well.
Which will help.
Yeah, that will help. So we've got the room. We got it for a few nights. Very excited. We're going to be staying at Art of Animation. Hopefully the gondolas are open by then.
That'd be cool. That would be so cool.
Oh, my God. Hop on the gondola and head on over to Galaxy's Edge. That'd be amazing.
Heck to the yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, we were talking about it. And we were like, how could we make this an even more epic event and get the most out of this experience and really give the people what they want? We started saying, there's another one of our podcasting cousins that we're in contact with quite frequently that we know is a huge Star Wars fan. And so we extended out a little invite to this individual. We didn't want to announce anything. I did on the live feed on Twitter. If you watched me on the video, I said that there may be special guests. And it could still happen. Right now, it's just me and Landon. We don't know if the rest of the family is going to join yet or not. It's going to be.
I'm not special enough for you people?
I'm saying other special guests.
Okay.
You're very special. There's other
thanks.
special, but there may still be announcements to come. So, got a little voicemail on the
From
Monday.
Billy D. Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Lando Calrissian's coming with us.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would.
Unfortunately, that is not the case. But I did get a little voicemail today from this individual that I'm speaking of. And I'm going to play it for you right now because I feel like I don't want to steal the thunder of this announcement. So here we go.
Hello, Monday Morning Monorail Podcast. This is Frank from Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. 2 members of your team recently reached out to me regarding the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios, #AlwaysMGM, on Thursday, August 29th. They were kind enough to invite me along on their grand adventure to a galaxy far, far away. At this time, I have a flight booked on Wednesday, August the 28th, that arrives at Orlando's International Airport in the 7 p.m. hour. At the moment, I have no way to get home, so I cannot officially confirm this trip. Perhaps you should listen to Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz for more information. Goodbye.
So there you go. Frank, always the podcasting professional. UA's excited about it too. I don't know if you can hear her barking in the background, but unofficially, Frank will be landing at Orlando International Airport on Wednesday, August the 28th, and joining us for the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge grand opening.
That's awesome. Yeah. Though I'm starting to think about rescinding our invite. That message was creepy.
It was very low key.
Mm-hmm.
He was low energy. It's a little unusual.
Yeah, is he sick or something?
I'm going to take it as right now he's feeling like he can tentatively accept the invite, but since he has no way to get home yet, he can't totally confirm it. So he's reserving the excitement.
Until that makes sense.
100% say, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm just going to say it. We've put it on the podcast. Obviously, you should listen to Theme Park Thursday coming up this week. There could be a huge announcement. Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. Check it out and find out more about the Monday Morning Monorail and the Dillo's Diz adventure down to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Batu, we're coming for you.
Yeah, buddy.
I can't wait. It's right now, I'm almost like shivering with anticipation just thinking about it. Oh God. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap this segment up for today. So Landon, let's tell people where they can find you should you want to be found.
Landoz. Please go follow me. Landon Doan. I'm the best. Landon Doan, not the rest. Twitter.com/Landoz, Landoz. That's where you can find the latest from me. 280 characters at a time. Also on a website, buttmunchchips.com, buttmunchchips.
Sit on your butt and munch.
That's where you can find other podcasts I've done, such as Game of Thrones Talk, a.k.a. Got Talk, the R&D Project, Nearfall Radio, though those projects have kind of gone dormant. Might be getting the Got Talk crew together for, because I don't know if you know this or not, Game of Thrones has ended, and we still haven't done our recap episode, and I know it was a very divisive episode, and my enthusiasm might have been cooled for the entire series as a whole just based on it. As Zoe attacks me, apparently she was okay with the episode. As I'm being mauled by my dog, I work on the Phil Show on News Talk 98.7. God.
And there's your applause.
Thank you.
Applause for Landon and his performance on the show today. That's right.
Well, if it was for the performance on the show today, I deserve nothing.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. Astro Orbiters, it's a good time. I think Landon and I would both tell you, as you could probably tell, we didn't mention this as like Disney 101.
No.
You don't necessarily have to ride this to get your honorary diploma in Disney experiences, but it's a fun thing to do. And when the parks are busy, there may not be a huge line for this. Go check it out. But also, check out Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming August 29th.
You know, I have a feeling we're not going to have to plug Star Wars Galaxy's Edge coming August 29th that much. I think it's going to be a success.
I think you're probably right. So, Landon, until next time, we will see you next week.
Catch you on the flippy floppy.